Okay, right now I am in a 2021 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xe, 4xe. And I'm going to tell you really quick what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and why you might consider it. But to be straight to the point, there's a lot of things I liked about the 4xe, but I wouldn't buy it. The things I liked: one, I love quiet off-roading. Off-roading on the electric only, it's just great. Second, it's still a Jeep. It can go and do a whole lot of things. But what it comes down to, number two, is MPG. Fuel economy was great. For a Jeep, it's on off-road tires, sitting up high, low-range gearbox, all that stuff, lockers, the whole thing. I would get about, the worst I got was 19 miles per gallon. The best I got was 24 and a half. And over 600 some miles, 676 miles, my average was 22.4 miles per gallon, and that includes off-roading. So I took this Jeep both on-road, off-road, highway, city. I also did rock crawling in dunes. It's great. And you think about it, doing all of those things over 600 miles and still getting 22 MPG, that's really good. So number two is fuel economy. Number one was I really just love quiet off-roading. I just love that. It's just beautiful. And number three thing that I liked about it, I'll come back to it if I remember. Anyway, those are the two. Now for the two negatives. Comes down to how it behaves on-road, how it did off-road. And the off-road is the kicker for me. So on-road, this is used, it's not mine, I rented it. So it could be just this example, but the ride is shaky. I'm sure my camera is bouncing around even right now, and we're going 29 miles an hour. A solid front axle that makes it different. Maybe the suspension is worn out on this thing, I don't know. But either way, it doesn't instill confidence at speed around corners. I feel like I have to drive, if nothing else, I guess on the positive is speeding was not an issue in this Jeep because I just had no desire to go any faster. But compare that to like my Beamer where doing double the whatever. So on-road wasn't very pleasurable, but yeah, you get to A to B just fine. This big deal was off-road. Now off-roading, I did rock crawling and in sand. And the biggest thing for me was in the sand. But it applies to both. And that being, when I am driving a Jeep, then I frequently use the sound of the RPM of the engine to gauge, how fast my wheels are spinning. But I couldn't really do that so much with the 4xe. The reason for that is that the engine revs at a different speed than the wheels a lot of the time at low speed. And that's because it feeds back and forth between the gas and electric engine. So the engine can be doing, I could be hitting the gas pedal hard, trying to spin the tires at a low speed, and I might be doing 2,000 RPM. Or I could be trying to crawl up a rock face really, really slow, and it's still doing 2,000 RPM. So you don't get a whole lot of feedback as to engine noise correlating to wheel speed. And for me, one of the best solutions, and I enjoyed it anyway, one of the best solutions was just to only do electric off-roading. So I would charge up beforehand. They have this setting where you can e-save, which frankly I felt like the Jeep did better overall if you did it in an e-save, even if you wanted to do gas. Anyway, I'd charge up, use e-save, take the electric charge to the trail, and then when I got to the trail, I would turn on the electric only. And off-roading in an electric one is more pleasurable for me because it's quiet. I can hear the crunch of the wheels. I can see what's going on. I can listen to, the surroundings. And frankly, if you're trying to look for wildlife, maybe even hunting or just seeing what's around you, I know I snuck up on people while we were on the trail where they were just walking in front of me. They couldn't really hear us, right? I bet you could get closer to wildlife with it. But either way, love the electric for that reason. But that was my solution, is I would put it to electric only, and that way I could hear the whine of the electric engine, or motor, the electric motor, give me an indication of how fast I'm actually speeding. Okay, Okay, so that's one. The big deal for me, though, that sort of really reduced the confidence level I was having was it, particularly in the sand. And I'm going to assume this would apply to both other loose conditions like mud or sand or anything else, right? Snow. Is that there's sometimes, particularly in sand, where I'm trying to keep speed up, keep the wheels going, and I would give it some juice, maybe give it full throttle, and it would cut on me. It would just cut out. It would sort of like, you'd expect if you had like traction control on or some other stability aids, that type of thing, except it would just cut out and go to 0, or it would nerf and it wouldn't do 100%. It would dial it back down. And that was really troublesome for me on several occasions where I felt like I was just about to get stuck. Like I'm digging into the sand and it cuts out. And so I lose all my momentum and I have to start from scratch in a hole. Not cool. And that happened several times and it didn't feel, and I mean, yeah, you could call driver error and things like that, right? But it really felt like the Jeep was deciding, hey, you can only have full throttle for like 2 seconds and then cut it. It didn't dial it back to just like that is a big deal to me. In a gas Jeep, if I wanted to, I could put my foot to the floor and those wheels would spin until I dug holes all the way down into the ground and high centered. And that's not a great tactic, right? But that would be my option, right? But with the electric, it would just kill it and just nope, this is where you're gonna live now. You're gonna die in this hole. I'm like, come on. So that's the thing. Off-road manners. I mean, you still got all the toys, you still got all the lockers and stuff like that. But to the electric, the engine not coinciding with power delivery, it just made a whole lot of that stuff feel very erratic. And when you really needed power or you needed that confidence, like, hey, we're gonna floor it, we're just gonna gun through this sand or mud, it would sometimes it'd be great, other times it'd flake out on me. So that's not a win for me. So those are the two things I didn't like. On-road manners, it's civility, and second, it's off-road confidence and reliability to me was less. The short of this story is go Jurassic Park and use a gas Jeep. If you're gonna get a Wrangler, you're not buying a Wrangler for fuel economy, I don't think. You're buying a Wrangler because you want to go off-road. And if you're going to go off-road, you want something you can rely on, that's going to be dependable, that's going to throw out the power you want when you put down the pedal. And whatever power plant you pick in gas, you're going to know what it's going to do. You're going to feel that more reliability. I didn't feel like the 4xe did that for me. If you have a different experience, by all means, put it in the comments. Tell me about it. I'd like to know. And anyway, but I love the Jeep. I've had this Jeep for a whole week. The 4xe is tons of fun. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I do feel like there are some things where it's not as inspiring off-road, but come on, it's still completely capable. And in the long run, I'm excited to get back to my Land Rover. So I hope this review helps you, and you guys have a good time on the trails.